So we are live. So this is your boy Post. You're now tuned in to hoodactionnews.com. So today I want to do some fact checking. So I'm going to fact check behind Donald Trump, and I want to listen to what Donald Trump said about cities that have the most crime. So I want to do some fact checking. So let's go to this screen. Now, let me adjust my mic. So let's look at what Donald Trump had to say about U.S. cities that have the most crime. And now, this week, in the last couple of weeks, Donald Trump has been threatening, if I want to use, I don't know if I want to use that word. Yeah, he's been threatening liberal cities, saying that he's going to send in the troops. So Donald Trump has been saying that he wants to send in troops to most of these liberal cities which have high crime rates. Now, I'm going to add a little bit more context after we watch Donald Trump's speech. So let's go into Donald Trump's speech. So this is Donald Trump's speech. Now they're going to ask him, is he going to deploy troops in Chicago?
Last week, have you spoken with President Putin?
Yeah, I don't want to. I have learned things that will be very interesting. I think in the next few days you'll find out.
Will there be any consequences if there isn't some type of announcement of a meeting with President Putin and President Zelensky?
Yeah,
and what could those consequences
We're going to
be?
see what happens. We're going to see what they do and what happens. I'm watching it very closely. Last week they lost 7,000 between the two countries, 7,313 soldiers to be somewhat exact, for no reason whatsoever. And they're Russian and they're Ukrainian, but they're soldiers. I want to see it end. Yeah.
Mr. President, have you decided you're definitely going to send National Guard troops to Chicago?
I didn't say when, but the answer is, look, Chicago's very interesting because I watched Pritzker get up and say we don't need help, we're safe. But 2 weeks ago, they had 6 people murdered, and they had 24 people hit by bullets. Last week, as you know, it was 7 people, 24 people hit, and 7 people died. And then over the last 2 days, that was the crown jewel. They had, I guess, 9 or 10 killed, and 50 hit with bullets. And you have this governor get up, who's a terrible governor. Probably he and Gavin Newsom would be probably the 2 worst and most naive. They're naive. Either they're naive or they're very untruthful. And he'll say, we don't want any protection. We don't need. So in the last 3 weeks, he's lost almost 20 people killed. There's no place in the world, including you can go to Afghanistan, you can go to places that you would think of. They don't even come close to this. Chicago is a hellhole right now. Baltimore is a hellhole right now. Parts of Los Angeles are terrible. If we didn't put out the fires, and I mean the other fires, the bullet fires, they didn't do a good job with it. They should have had the water coming down, like I said.
Now listen, so I'm gonna do a little fact check, and we actually want to take a look at what cities have the most crime after we finish watching this. Now, notice he said that parts of Los Angeles, and I'm gonna show you why he said that parts of Los Angeles have high crime. I'm gonna show you why he said that in a little later.
Said, we had to release the water. We had to go in and release the water to LA. It's so badly run. But if I didn't send the National Guard into Los Angeles, I would be making an announcement today. I'd be talking about Huntsville, and I'd simultaneously be saying, by the way, the Olympics is not coming to Los Angeles. If we didn't do that, and even the sheriff, the top law enforcement person in Los Angeles said, we could not have handled it without them. So that's what he said.
Did you make your mind up on Chicago, though?
Well, we're going in. I didn't say when. We're going in. When you lose, look, I have an obligation. This isn't a political thing. I have an obligation. When we lose, when 20 people are killed over the last 2.5 weeks and 75 are shot with bullets, So let me tell you a little story about a place called DC, District of Columbia, right here where we are. It's now a safe zone. We have no crime. It's in such great shape. You can go and actually walk with your children, your wife, your husband. You can walk right down the middle of the street. You're not going to be shot, Peter. You're safe. Everyone likes you anyway. They probably wouldn't do it. But it's so dangerous. And there are people in this audience that you've suffered greatly. There are people in this audience that have been mugged and hurt badly, and they don't want to talk about it. Maybe you were very brave in talking about it. You made quite an impression on a lot of people. I appreciate it. But there were other people.
So listen, I'm not gonna even lie to you. I seen a video on Instagram. It was a young brother walking down the street with his iced out chain on, and he was just surprised how he can walk down the street in DC with all his chains on and not be robbed. So we'll see.
People in this room that have been hurt very badly just walking down the street in DC. Washington, D.C. is a safe zone right now. It's a safe city. The restaurants are open. They're booming. You can't get a restaurant. New restaurants are announcing that they're going to be open. This took place in 12 days. Now it's 15 days, but 3 days ago, it became what's known as a safe zone. It's a safe city. And this city was really bad, really, really bad. We took 1,600 people out, hardcore criminals that will not be coming back anytime soon. And we're very proud of it. You know, to have our nation's capital lose every week, you know, it was like years, many years where every single week somebody was killed for many, many, many consecutive weeks. This went on for years. And then we had last week, it was announced that nobody was killed last week. And I made that announcement in front of a very distinguished leader of a country. And I'm saying proudly, ladies and gentlemen, nobody was killed in Washington, D.C. this week. He looked at me like, what's that all about? I say, yeah, we have a little bit of a crime problem, and we don't have a crime problem in Washington anymore. And the mayor has been very helpful, and the police commission has been very helpful, and it's been a great team. And I would love to have Governor Pritzker call me. I'd gain respect for him and say, we do have a problem, and we'd love you to send in the troops, because you know what? The people, they have to be protected. I saw today on one of your networks, not a friendly network, except really the opposite, I would say, very unfriendly network. And they interviewed about
CNN.
12 people on this morning. Most of them were African American, who were black. And they were saying, please, please, please let the president send in. These were people from Chicago. Please, we need help.
So listen, I'm in. So if you're now tuned in to hoodactionnews.com, I am in Philadelphia. Now, I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican, whatever you are, in Philadelphia right now, I have a license to carry. I carry a gun. Legally, I legally carry a gun. So when I go to the ATM machine, if I make a deposit, I gotta carry my gun on me. It's pretty much like that everywhere. You just seen on the news, I reported myself in Philadelphia, they robbed the Brinks truck for it was almost $1 million. So they did $1 million robbery of a Brinks truck in Philadelphia. This just happened in Philadelphia maybe a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, right? In the neighborhood that I'm from, right? So like I said, it's so bad when I go pick up my mom and take her out going to different stores and stuff, I got my gun on me. It would be nice to be able to get up on a Sunday morning or a Saturday morning and take your mom to a little restaurant and not have to have your gun on you. You know what I mean? Because you think somebody's going to rob you. You know what I mean? Because if you don't, and then you have to move accordingly also too, not just have a license to carry, you got to move accordingly. You can listen, whatever is going on, and I'm in Philadelphia, right? I can't really speak for Chicago, right? But in Philadelphia, send in anybody. Send in the Easter Bunny. You know what I'm saying? Send in somebody. You know what I mean?
We need help. We can't walk outside. We're petrified. If the governor of Illinois would call me up, I would love to do it. Now, we're going to do it anyway. We have the right to do it because I have an obligation to protect this country. And that includes Baltimore. I saw where Governor Moore was asking me to take a walk down the street of Baltimore. Well, Baltimore is a very unsafe place. It's rated number 4 in the city, one of the most unsafe places anywhere in the world.
So now, after he finished talk, when he's done and pretty much done, we're going to do all the numbers here to actually see if Donald Trump is telling the truth or if he's in the ballpark with these numbers.
But we took care. This was a beautiful thing that happened in Washington because we showed that it could be done. And this wasn't just sending big, strong guys, and they are big and they are strong. We had a great decision from the Supreme Court that had to do with sort of talent. It had to do with you are put down based on merit. You can hire based on merit. So merit for a soldier or for a policeman is strong, physically fit, having a certain ability, not a person that is woke and got the job through woke, but wasn't strong enough to lift a gun out of the holster, et cetera, et cetera. No, I looked at the police. As you know, last week I went over, we had a meeting there had to be 300 people, and they were all very impressive looking. And when the bad guys see them, they're not going to do a thing. And so I'm very proud of Washington. It serves as a template, and we're going to do it elsewhere. But Chicago is certainly going to be high. I would love to have him call. I would love the governor of Illinois. I'd be honored to take his call. All he has to do is say, "Sir, we need help. It's out of control." And everyone knows it is. He's not kidding anyone. I would love to have, I would say, Governor Moore call, because I watched him over the weekend trying to explain that Baltimore, what they need is housing. No, they don't need housing. They need to get rid of the criminals. These are hardcore criminals. We took many people off the streets of Washington, D.C. They're hardcore. They're not going to be good. In 10 years, in 20 years, in 2 years, they're going to be criminals. They were born to be criminals, frankly. They were born to be criminals, and they're tough and mean, and they'll cut.
Now, listen, let me ask you a question, right? If you put another person's name, so everything he said today, right? If another person says this, are they lying? So I repeat that again, right? Now I know a lot of people don't like Donald Trump, right? If you put another person's face on his body, right? If you put Kamala Harris's face on his, I didn't want to say that. If you put Kamala Harris's face on his body, or whatever other candidate in the world that you want to be the president, and they say the exact same thing, is he lying? That's what I want to know. Is he lying? That's what I want to know. Now, I'm talking about what he's talking about right now. Is he lying or is he flying?
Your throat, and they won't even think about it the next day. They won't even remember that they did it. And we're not going to have those people. Washington, D.C. is now a safe zone. It's a safe place. And you can walk, Katie, you can walk right down the street.
Now, is he capping about that? He might be a little capped with that one, though.
With, by the way, one of the biggest human beings I've ever seen, which is her husband. He was a football player for like 11 years in the NFL. He's a big person. But big doesn't mean anything when they have guns and when they have knives and everything else that they have, right? But you can walk right down the street, even by yourself, and you're totally safe. Washington, D.C. is a great thing. Yes, ma'am, please.
Calling on Democratic leaders across the country to work with you on crime. Do you see your efforts here in D.C., including, for example, working with Mayor Bowser here as a model for bringing more bipartisanship in matters not only with crime, but also issues that matter to everyday American people's lives?
So Mayor Bowser's been great. She could have taken the thing, and then after I clean it up, they'll take credit for it. You know what they do is they take credit. Like, we cleaned up Los Angeles. We did a great job there. And it was overwhelming what was going on. And again, the police chief.
Now, listen, is that cap? Did he really clean up Los Angeles? Now, 90% of this stuff he was saying was true, right? But his little credits that he's trying to take, is that 100% true? Did you really clean up Los Angeles? So Los Angeles doesn't have one gang member right now, huh?
Made a statement that we could not have done. There's no way they could handle. You saw what was happening out there. It was going to be a disaster. We stopped it cold. If we didn't do that,
so let me go back a little bit.
place in the world, including you.
Okay. So I'm gonna put Donald J. That's a hell of a freeze. I'm gonna leave it just like that. So I'm gonna put your boy Donald J. Trump on the screen right now. We listened to him talk. Now I'm going to go. Oh, I'm gonna get right to the chase. Let's go over the murder rates. So I'm gonna go over some murder rates with you. So I'm gonna pull this right up on the screen. So we're going to go over. So he mentioned, you notice he mentioned Baltimore, right? Because I know Philly is just as bad as Baltimore. But this is the thing. Baltimore, if you're driving down, if you're going 95 south, right? If you're going 95 south, you got Baltimore and then you got DC. So remember, Baltimore is right next to DC. So remember that. So he's definitely the next city. He may even go in Baltimore before he goes in Chicago. But I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna show you why. So let me get this on the screen. So listen, Donald Trump may go to Baltimore. So if you don't know, if you actually don't know where Baltimore is on a map, so I'm gonna give you an example. If I'm driving down south from Philadelphia, it's like Philly, Delaware, Maryland, right? You go through like the top of Maryland, and then you go through Baltimore is the next biggest city, and then you go through DC, and then after DC is Virginia. So this is for, if you're on the West Coast and you're watching this, is if you're driving like 95 South, 95 Sizzle, you know what I mean? It's Pennsylvania. Now I'm naming it by the next biggest cities. You got Philly, Baltimore, DC. So Philly, Baltimore, DC, and then after is like Richmond, and then you got like Durham, North Carolina is like the next biggest place, right? Now, to me, if I would bet money on it, he's probably going to go in Baltimore because whatever troops are in DC, they can slide right up to Baltimore. So those troops that are in DC, they can definitely slide right up to Baltimore. Now, look what I have on the screen. This is the top 20 U.S. cities with the worst murder rate. Now, it says according to analysis in 2025, right? So this is between 2024 and 2025. So it's saying number one is Chicago. Now, this is for the largest cities in the U.S., right? So this is not like murder per person. This is for the largest cities in the US. So the largest cities in the US that have the most population, the murder rate, it says Chicago is first, Indianapolis is second, Philadelphia is third, Dallas is fourth, and Houston is fifth. Now, I said yesterday that we haven't heard Donald Trump say anything about going to Texas. I haven't heard him say anything about sending the National Guard to Texas. So he's kind of being disingenuous because he wants to send, oh, these are all liberal cities. So Baltimore is a liberal city, right? Chicago is a liberal city. I haven't heard him say nothing about Philadelphia yet, right? Now, if he's going to go in a line, you got DC, Baltimore, Philly, New York. So he could just go right up the line. And New York is an hour away from Philly. So it's like bing, 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 bing. So whatever National Guard is in DC, they can go right up the East Coast, Jersey, all of that. You know what I mean? So the tri-state area from DC on up to the tri-state area is probably his best bet. You know what I mean? Because it's literally like from DC to Philly is 3.5 hours. So you figure from DC to New York is 5 hours. So it's about 5 or 6 hours, maybe less than that, to be honest with you. DC to New York is a 5-hour drive. So DC, Philly, he can send a National Guard to all these places, right? Now they're going to fight him on it. But now look, is he being disingenuous? Look on my screen. Fourth and fifth is Houston and Dallas. So your man is definitely a little bit disingenuous, but number 1, 2, and 3, Chicago is number 1. So I've been reporting, I've been reporting I've been doing reports the last couple weeks about Donald Trump sending troops to Chicago. So Chicago is number 1 on the murder rate, far as biggest cities are concerned. And let me go down to like the overall. So let's see what's happening down here. Okay, so I like the way they did these numbers because they're looking at the whole murder rate. Was it more people? So you got Chicago's number 1, Indianapolis is number 2, Philadelphia is number 3, Dallas is number 4, Houston is number 5, Jackson, Mississippi is number 6, Birmingham, Alabama is 7th, St. Louis, Missouri 8th, Memphis, Tennessee 9th, Baltimore, Maryland is 10th on this map. Now, New Orleans is 11th. Detroit is 12th. Now, let me see. Now, I would have thought that Baltimore would have been higher, but let me see something. Cities, yeah, so there's probably a larger population in these, yes, yeah, these are bigger cities up there. Now, Baltimore is 10th, but you know Baltimore is bad. Like, come on now. Baltimore's been bad, right? Yo, Baltimore, Philly, and let me see something. Chicago, Baltimore, and Philly have been bad forever. Since before me and you were born. They've been gang banging in Chicago, gang banging in Philly way before current times. You know what I mean? And that's documented. That's a fact. So let's see something. So these are the cities with the worst crime. Now, is Donald Trump capping by saying these cities. Now these are new numbers. So is he capping? Is he capping Crunch or what? I don't think he's really capping because Chicago is number one. And we all knew that. We know that and we knew that, right? Way before Donald Trump, Chicago has been up there, right? Indianapolis. Now the population is not that large in Indianapolis, but for the population, it's a lot of murders. Philadelphia, like I said, they need to send somebody here. Like send Santa Claus, send the Easter Bunny, send somebody. You know what I mean? Now, the biggest part about this is Dallas and Houston. He hasn't said nothing about Texas. Is this where his base? You know, Texas is definitely a red state. Donald Trump has said nothing about Houston and Texas. So I don't know why. If I can pull this up, so this is where Democrats are slacking, right? This is why the Democrats need better candidates, is what I'm trying to say. If I can pull this up, little old me in Philadelphia can pull this up and show you why didn't you call him out on this about Dallas and Houston. So nobody has called Donald Trump out on Dallas and Houston, right? So I haven't heard one person do it. So let me hop right here. So just to give a key thought to, like, so if you're a Democrat, right? If you're in the Democratic Party, right, and you're running for president or you're looking for a candidate, because to me, you don't really have any candidates right there, right? That's why people are voting independent right now. That's why Donald Trump is in there. So I'm gonna repeat that again. These are my thoughts. Democrats, you don't have any candidate right now. That's why Donald Trump is in there, because y'all didn't have a good candidate. So for all of y'all that are running against, you're not running against Donald Trump for the next term. So you haven't called him out on the fact that Houston and Dallas are in the top 5 murder rate in the country, and he's not talking about sending troops there. It's right on my screen here. I'm gonna enlarge this back. So look on the screen there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4th and 5th are Dallas, Texas, and Houston. Are you going to send troops there? Or are you going to concentrate on just the liberal places? Now, if Donald Trump would have sent troops everywhere to just say listen, I'm going to take the top 5 places for now, and I want to send troops there. So if Donald Trump said, I want to take the top 5 places, hold up. So let me go here. So if Donald Trump, if he actually said, put it like this, if Donald Trump got on the news and said, listen, United States of America, I want to send troops to the top 5 places to assure that, our cities are safe. You can walk the streets at night. You can go out with your children. I want to send troops to the top 5 worst places in the United States that have the worst crime rate, right? It would have been more genuous. Now he's looking kind of disingenuous because, like, you got Houston and Dallas. Now, I've been doing reports on Houston and Dallas all month. Kidnappings, carjackings. Houston just had a carjacking. 5 people were just carjacking people in Houston. So all summer I've been doing reports on Houston and Dallas. So for Houston and Dallas to be 4th and 5th in the murder rate, and Donald Trump, you don't want to send people there, that's super disingenuous, right? Now, I'm not saying, listen, now on the other hand, I'm not actually saying that he shouldn't send troops to Chicago and Baltimore either. So you gotta meet it right down the middle. You gotta meet everything right down the middle. Let me put this back on the screen. Now, leave a comment below about what I just said, right? Forget I want I was about to say fuck what Donald Trump just said. Listen to what I just said. I just said it. But listen, fuck what Donald Trump just said. Listen, look at what I just put on the screen, right? I'm gonna be totally honest with y'all. Donald Trump is a politician. If Joe Biden was doing the same thing, I'd be saying the same thing. So, yo, forget what these politicians are saying. Look at what I'm looking at on the screen. If you watching, right? You, the viewer now, if you're watching, if you were the president right now, so you the viewer, if you were the president right now, these are the places that need troops right now, right? Now, Chicago is number one. Whatever way you want to cut the cake, Chicago is number one. So whatever way you want to cut the cake or the pie, Chicago is number one for murder rate. You can cut the cake, you can slice the pie. Chicago is 1,000% number one on this list, right? So if you the viewer, right? You the viewer, if you were the president, yeah, you right there sitting on the couch eating potato chips. Yep. If you were president, you would definitely send troops to Chicago first, right? But like I said, Donald Trump is being super disingenuous because Dallas and Houston is fourth and fifth. So you got it. You can't just send them to blue states. You got to send them to these red states too. And then everybody's moving in Dallas and Houston from other places. So the crime rate is up, the STD rate is up, all type of rates is up. Now look. Now let's look at something else. Let's look at something else real fast. Now check this out. Check this shit out. That's what Nino Brown say, right? Now I'm gonna show you. Now we looked at the murder rates, right? This is crazy. So we looked at the murder rates. Now let's look at the auto theft rates. So look, we looked at the murder rates. Now, this data is from 2022, right? So this is probably the latest data that they can get. Now, this is the auto theft rates for cities in the United States. So you got Colorado is number one, right? Pueblo, I don't know how to pronounce it. So I said Chicago. Colorado is number one, right? You got California, Bakersfield, Aurora, Denver, right? So that's in Colorado too. So so listen, when it comes to your car getting stolen, Colorado, two places in Colorado is number one and number three. Memphis is number four. Portland, it says Vancouver, Portland is number five. 6 is Albuquerque, New Mexico. 7, Seattle. 8th, San Francisco. 9th is Colorado, Greensley again. Greensley, Colorado. 10th is Kansas City, Missouri. So these are just getting your car stolen. So I'm gonna just call out the actual states. You got Colorado up there twice. I didn't know they were stealing cars like that out there. You got California, Memphis, Portland, New Mexico, Seattle, which is Washington, San Fran, Colorado. So listen, Colorado is up there 3 times for stealing cars, yo. Damn. So these are just little details, right? So you're gonna send Trump, you know, Trump wants to send, you want to send people to certain cities, send like Colorado, you send one of, listen, send a couple troops to Colorado. They ain't got no cars out there. They stealing everything out of Colorado, right? Now, ladies, I got some stats for you. So this stat is for the ladies, right? So this is straight for the ladies, right? Let me show you. Now I'm gonna code these words because you know YouTube's kind of sensitive soldier, right? So listen, ladies. So listen. Now this is for the ladies. Now this is for the ladies, and if you're just joining in now, like, share, subscribe. This is hoodactionnews.com. I first introduced Donald Trump saying what cities he's going to send troops for. Now we're breaking down what actually goes on in different cities as far as murder rates, auto theft, and then now this is actually for the ladies. This is for your safety. Just so you know what cities that more women get, you know what, and rhymes with grapes, right? So this is the city where women get sexual assaulted the most, right? These are the cities. Now I'm put them up. So these are the cities. So these are the cities where women get sexually assaulted the most. Now, a lot of these I did not know myself. So looking at this is crazy. Now, number 1 is Alaska. Wow. So these are the top 10 cities that have the highest you know what rate, sexual assault rate, rhymes with great, right? So Alaska is number 1, Arkansas is number 2, South Dakota is number 3, Michigan is number 4, Nevada is number 5. So those are the top 5 right there. Now it says Anchorage, Alaska. It says the city of St. Louis, Missouri. See something. That's not what I'm looking for. Now let me see something. So these are cities. I think that these are cities that it actually went up, but I can see the different years. So these are cities to watch out for still. New Orleans, Detroit, Cincinnati, St. Louis is up there again. Anchorage, Alaska, and Atlanta. Definitely watch out for Atlanta because Atlanta says 2023. So yeah, so I would just really pay attention to these top 5. But now the number 1 place where you ladies always go is Nevada. So them trips to Vegas and Reno, you know, if you go out there, those are your places where women get sexually assaulted the most. Now, you can look on the screen. It rhymes with grape. Because you know we can't say that word on YouTube, allegedly, right? Now, these are the places where this happens the most. Now, I'm kind of shocked because I don't see a major city. I don't really see like Philly or New York and stuff like that. But Alaska is number 1. That's crazy. So if you're a woman in Alaska, you definitely want to carry a weapon. Arkansas, what are y'all doing out there? You know what I'm saying? So all your axe murderers and Freddy Cougars in Arkansas, basically. South Dakota is so desolate, right? There's not that many people out there, but it's still a bad place for women to be. Michigan and then Nevada. I would key in on Michigan and Nevada because and then definitely Alaska, but Arkansas and South Dakota, they don't have that much population. But Michigan and Nevada are your top two largest cities where women get sexually assaulted. And not, not just now I'm using sexually assaulted, but they actually get graped, like grape juice in those states. And that's crazy. That's some crazy stats right there. But like I said, that's for the ladies. You know what I'm saying? So that's absolutely, like, ladies, pay attention to that. Alaska's number one for women getting grape juiced, right? The most important one that you got family members that always travel to is probably Nevada, which is probably Las Vegas or Reno, whatever you go in Nevada. But Las Vegas is probably one to watch out for, as far as that's concerned. Now, this is another one. I'm gonna give you another one. I'm gonna give you one last one, right? Now, these are the suicide rates. So I'm gonna put these up. Now, these are the suicide rates. So this is mental health issues, right? So obviously these are people with mental health issues. Now this one threw me for this one is kind of throwing me for a loop too. Now, yeah, this one is definitely throwing me for a loop because it's not in none of these major cities. Is what's crazy to me, right? So listen, the cities with the highest suicide rates in 2025: Reno, Nevada, Colorado Springs. So it's a lot of problems going on in Colorado that we don't know about. A lot of car theft, a lot of suicides. It says it's Junetti. I don't know how to say that word. It's what is it? June EU. Juniu. I think it's Juniu, Alaska is third on the suicide rates. Montana, Missoula, Montana, Billings, Montana. So listen, Colorado is third, Alaska. So Montana, why is there a lot of suicides in Montana? I don't know. That's crazy, but it's a lot in Reno, Nevada. Why is it a lot in Reno, Nevada? There's nothing out there. I guess people is just so desolate, nobody to talk to. I don't know. But that's crazy. That's crazy. And then it says in addition, so Colorado and then Oklahoma City. I guess these are honorable mentions. Oklahoma City, Indianapolis. But it's weird because, like, you got these Phillies. I mean, you got these cities like Philly. I said you got these Phillies. I'm thinking about the Phillies. So you got these cities like Philly, New York, and people, I guess people, I don't know, maybe they're so busy, people got a lot to do. I don't know, but these are your rates. I don't know why these happen, but these are your suicide rates. So it's Nevada, Colorado, Alaska, and Montana's on it twice. That's wild. Which Montana is not a place where you really think of, period, until you actually look at the whole map of the United States. You're like, damn, I forget about Montana. You know what I mean? But listen, go back and look at some of this data that I showed you. Now I'm gonna put this last one back on the screen. I had it on the screen earlier. Let's put it back up there. Let's show you the murder rates again before we close this out. So let's conclude this with the murder rates. So I'm gonna put this up on the screen for the people just joining in. So look at the cities with the worst murder rates. So your boy Donald Duck or your Uncle Trump, whatever you want to call him, right? Your main man, right? Which I'm like 50% on. I don't like no politician, but what he said, 90% was making sense. But this is the other 10% where I got you. So listen, Donald Trump, what he was saying earlier, I was agreeing with him 90%. I should, man, just say maybe 75%, but it's that 25% where I got you. You ain't telling the whole truth. You telling half the truth. Chicago. So listen, if you're just tuning in, these are the cities with the worst murder rate. So if you want to send in the National Guard, you need to go to these cities first. Chicago is number 1. Indianapolis is number 2. Philadelphia, which I am in, is definitely number 3. Is most definitely number 3. 4th is Dallas, Texas. 5th, Houston, Texas. 6th, Jackson, Mississippi. 7th, Birmingham, Alabama. 8th, St. Louis, Missouri. 9th, Memphis, Tennessee. 10th, Baltimore, Maryland. 11th, New Orleans, right? And then 12th was Detroit, Michigan. Last but not least, that now you got 13, 14, 15, but these are like the top 12 right here. And Baltimore is 10th, right? Now I told you Donald Trump is probably going to go right up to Baltimore. Is right across that little bit of water right there. You know what I mean? From DC. So that's why in his speech he was like Baltimore, Baltimore, Baltimore. He said Baltimore 1,000 times because it's right next to them. You know what I mean? It might be like, it's like what, 15 minutes over the bridge right there when you go down there. So, yo, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and definitely rewind this and take a look at these lists. I got where women get you know what the most horrible thing, where your car is going to get stolen the most is not going to be where you think it is. And we got the murder rates, which we knew Chicago was number 1. And I definitely knew Philly was number 3. You know what I mean? But when you look at this list, check out 4th and 5th. So 4th and 5th, Dallas and Houston, is why right now Donald Trump is looking a little bit disingenuous, because I haven't heard him say nothing about Dallas and Houston. And you know darn well that the murder rate is raising in Houston. Like just off of word of mouth, we know that. You know what I mean? Now we don't have to go word of mouth. I got the stats on the screen. Do your own fact checks. You know what I'm saying? Do your own fact checks. You know, cross-reference it with Google and do your chat. What do you call it? This is what I'm going to call your chat GPTs. Your chat GPTs. So do your Googles and your chat GPTs and just cross-reference everything. You know what I mean? To see if everything's coming out with the same data. That's what I do. So listen, make sure you like, share, subscribe. This is hoodactionnews.com. I just wanted to do some fact checks today and just, take a look at everything. Now, we heard what Donald Trump was saying. We did our own fact checks. So we know that Donald Trump is a little bit disingenuous. Now, so let me take a look at some of my comments, see what's going on. Hold up, let me get this off the screen. Shout out to Preppy Girl. Give me 1 second. Let me take this off. So yeah, make sure you cross-reference everything. Yo, what up, Post? Love your show. What up? So let's see. Let me go to the next one. Yeah, because Texas, yeah, it's a Republican state. So that's what I was saying. If you now look right there, Dallas and Houston, he didn't say nothing about going there. They're fourth and they're not. Look, listen, they're not 13th and 14th. They're fourth and fifth. We haven't heard anything about him going to those states, right? Shout out. Shout out. Love to you too, Preppy Girl. Thanks for your support. You know what I mean? This is your boy Post. Take a look at those numbers. Let me see what she said up here. Oh, Alaska is fifth, 5-to-1 ratio, men to women. Alaska had the highest. Yeah, whoa, yep. Alaska has the highest alcoholic addiction in the country. So that may be tied into the suicide rates. So listen to what Preppy Girl said. She said it's a 5-to-1 ratio, men to women. So Alaska has the highest alcoholic rates in the country, alcoholic addiction rates in the country. This is true. Yep. This is definitely true. So shout out to Preppy Girl. Shout out to you. Now, this is your boy Post. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. We need those subscribers. These facts right here, this is good. Now, check out the one I had for the ladies. Ladies, stay your ass out of Nevada. Yo. So, like I said, I had that on the screen. If you just joining in, go back and look at the sexual assault, the grape rates. I can't say that word. The grape rates in the United States. Nevada is number one. Stay your ass out of Nevada. If you go to Nevada, go with like 1,000 chicks. You know what I mean? Make sure y'all stay together. You know what I mean? Especially y'all young bucks. Make sure y'all stay together. It's your boy Post. I'm Izzo.